Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trail Mix, where the nuts might be a little stale, but the company is always fresh.
Welcome to Trail Mix live stream. I'm Craig Crawford, retired journalist working for nothing but the truth and Social Security checks. We're watching the hearing over here on Capitol Hill in the Senate. Chuck Grassley, the chairman of Judiciary, is heaping the praise on his fellow Republican and trumpeter Attorney General Pam Bondi. Going to be a lot of questions today, a lot of dodging, but we might get a few hints on some things like, did Trump talk to her about pardoning Giselle Maxwell as he said he would do yesterday? That's one little thing trickling out there. Then her decision to prosecute James Comey might come up. And I'm sure Grassley's going to get into the news that we got yesterday that in the Biden administration, Jack Smith, the DOJ prosecutor, had tapped phone calls of senators. That does sound a little wiggly. So I'm sure Grassley's going to want to get into that, because anytime Republicans can talk about Joe Biden, they will. It's one of their favorite weapons of mass distraction. So we're going to listen to this and pop in here and there as people show up and chat.
Task force to attack the problems left by your predecessor. You've created a team, including the discredited Crossfire Hurricane investigations. Your weaponization working group has worked with my staff to bring forward resolutions for whistleblowers, and I commend you and your staff efforts to find solutions for these patriots. I understand the task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias has done an investigation in how the Biden administration weaponized the government against people of faith. I look forward to your next report on that subject. Now, you've also shuttered a certain task force that was a stain on this country, the Foreign Influence Task Force. Democrats have cried about closing this misleadingly named unit. The task force was involved in undermining my and Senator Johnson's Biden family investigation. Instead of rooting out foreign influence, the task force became a political weapon. And speaking of political weapons, I'm now going to address examples of political weaponization in the previous administration. Most recently,
Previous administration, that's
Senator
their favorite
Johnson
topic.
made public
Weapons of mass distraction
relating to Arctic force, expansive targeting of Republicans. And on Monday, just yesterday, because of our investigative work, the FBI disclosed that the Biden administration used Arctic frost to target Republican senators, including several senators on this very committee. This is an outrage, an unconstitutional breach, and ought to be immediately addressed by you and Director Patel. It's also a clear example of what
from the Republican side. This hearing is going to be an exercise in how to keep the topics off current events, because almost none of them play to their advantage, and they'd rather talk about the Biden crime family if they can.
Law enforcement, but some of them also retaliated against patriotic whistleblowers. These are indefensible acts. Now I've obtained additional weaponization records thanks to brave whistleblowers that predate Arctic frost. I've obtained documents created by then Supervisory Special Agent Tebow, dated March 2, 2017. The title of this document is quote unquote Trump, and it appears to relate to matters different than Crossfire Hurricane. This document discusses a rumor at FBI headquarters that the FBI's Washington field office was leaning towards opening a case on the Trump campaign. Tebow noted they were they weren't close to opening an investigation, but did say this, quote, "What are we doing? Aggressively seeking out open source information, human intelligence info that could predicate a case," end of quote. You see, less than 2 months into the Trump's first presidency, the partisan Comey FBI was very hard at work trying to manufacture another case against Trump. Tebow and the FBI eventually got their wish in April 2022 with the opening of Arctic Frost. This was a political fishing expedition to get Trump at all costs, just like Crossfire Hurricane. And of course, it's a disgrace to the taxpayers. Whistleblowers have provided me with another document. This document is a 2017 case, updated, also drafted by then Supervisor Special Agent Tebow. This is a case update for CR 15, the now disbanded and discredited Public Corruption Squad at FBI's Washington Field Office, which says, quote, McAuliffe case. Steve Sullivan, Chief Financial Officer of Teneo, was interviewed in New York City. I seem to confirm Teneo was used as a pass-through for Doug Band to pay former president of the United States, end of quote. Doug Band was deputy assistant to then President Clinton and continued to work for him in post-presidency. Therefore, it's pretty clear that the reference to the President of the United States is Bill Clinton. The document further notes additional interviews the FBI planned to conduct as part of the case.
Boy, they've actually managed to
This
drag
information
Bill Clinton into
confirms
this. This
there
is
was an
going to be a
FBI
field
case
day
on
for the
McAuliffe,
weapons of mass
and it
distraction.
indicates
Whenever Republicans
Clintons
can
and their
pretend they're
associates
living in the
were
90s
relevant
again,
to it.
pretty soon Monica
Did the
Lewinsky's going to show
FBI
up.
throw its resources behind this matter just like it did against Trump and his associates? A legitimate question. Or did they sweep it under the rug? A legitimate question. So, General Bondi, I'd like to have you provide me with all the records relating to these matters for further verification. Lastly, whistleblowers have provided me additional records related to the Biden FBI political conduct against Peter Navarro. The first document is a request for physical surveillance on Navarro the day the FBI arrested him. The second document is a timeline of that surveillance. When Navarro with Navarro, FBI didn't arrest him at his house, which was literally right next to the FBI headquarters. Instead, they surveilled him and his fiancee all morning, starting at his home, following them to the airport, and then arrested him in public at the Reagan airport. The way Navarro was treated is unnecessary. General Bondi, I would like you to provide me all records relating to this matter. Attorney General Bondi, this Congress, I've made public one document after another, one whistleblower disclosure after another, one example of weaponization after another. So to our average constituent, this is all history. But it's all points. All evidence of your predecessor's total failures. It's time for accountability. And I look forward to hearing about your success in that regard. Senator Durbin.
Thanks, Chairman Grassley, for holding this oversight hearing.
Hey!
General
Hi
Bondi.
there.
I'm glad that we are following this.
You're just
committee's
in time for
longstanding tradition
Durbin
of
now.
regular oversight.
Grassley just spent all his time
Attorney
pretending we're in
General,
the
Director
Biden
of the
years,
FBI, and the
attacking the
Secretary of
Biden
Homeland Security.
crime family.
These hearings have never been more important as President Trump turns the full force
I'm
of the
interested
federal
in
government
what she has to
on
say. I
Chicago
was
and
going to
other
go
American
swimming.
cities. The assault on the city I am
Well,
proud to represent is
They're
just
doing
one
opening
example
statements
of
now,
how
and then
President
she'll
Trump
do
and
her
Attorney
opening
General Bondi
statement.
shut
So
down
it might
justice
be
at the Department of Justice even
20
before
minutes or
the
so before
President's
they get
party,
to
controlling the White
actual
House,
questioning.
Senate, and House of Representatives, shut down the government. The Attorney General has systematically weaponized
But it really
our
was
nation's
funny how
leading
Grassley
law enforcement agency
spent all his
to
opening
protect President
talking
Trump
about all
and
the
his allies and attack
misdeeds
his
of the
opponents
Biden years.
and
He even
sadly,
went
the
down.
American
He
people.
even managed to go back
You
to
have
Bill
purged
Clinton at one point.
hundreds
I mean,
of senior
they're
career
deep into
officials
the
since you
weapons of
first
mass
appeared before us.
distraction now.
These men and women had dedicated their careers to protecting the American people.
Yeah, nothing
As a
is ever
result, the
happening
department has
now. It
lost
was
literally
then.
Right.
thousands
They
of years
caused
of
it.
law enforcement expertise.
Well, the
To
thing
be
with this
specific,
crowd, I've always noticed
we
is
disbanded the FBI's
it's a
Foreign
Trump
Influence
trait that
Task
has
Force
filtered
and the
out to
National
all his
Cryptocurrency
gang.
Enforcement Team.
Is he
Despite
talks
the
about
growing
the
threat
past? He makes
of
up
foreign election
stories about the
interference
past,
and the
and
drastic
he makes
rise
up
in
stories about the
cryptocurrency
future.
crimes. You forced out
And
almost
the present, they just
75%
don't
of the
talk
Civil
about
Rights
if it's
Division's
not
career
going well.
attorneys, while hate
They only
crimes are on
talk
the
about the
rise.
present if it's
You
going well.
fired more than
I
100
guess he's
immigration
the AI
judges,
president.
while the immigration case backlog
Yeah.
is more than 3 million.
Is it real or,
You cut the
or
public
even the old
integrity
commercial?
section
Is it real
from
or is
30
it Memorex?
prosecutors to 2, while political corruption
Yeah, Kimmel got
skyrockets.
into something last night about. I
During your
guess there's some quote of
confirmation
Trump's
hearing,
where he
I
was
asked you about
saying
your many
he was
potential
looking at something. He says,
conflicts of interest. as a
"Oh, I
former
know it was the
lobbyist."
video of the
You
Portland."
responded under oath, quote,
Oh,
"We
right.
will consult with
Yeah,
career
and he was
ethics
saying,
officials
"Is this?
within
Am
the
I
department
looking at
and make
what
the
I'm looking
appropriate
at?
decision."
It's real."
But the Justice Department then removed
Yeah, I
those
mentioned that
career
the other day that he really
put
did
in
not
their
know
place
that what he was
appointees
watching
beholden to President
was
Trump.
old footage of previous events.
And that was Portland. What they so he was when he was saying Portland is burning to the ground. He
Right.
was referring to 5-year-old video.
Although you've been a registered foreign agent
Yes.
in Qatar, you did
And
not
it wasn't
recuse
even
yourself
really
from
burning.
signing
It
off
was
on
the
President
Floyd
Trump's solicitation of a free
protests.
jet from the royal family,
Mhm.
even though this gift was clearly
Had
illegal.
nothing to do with what the city
Connections
is
to
like
Attorney General
today.
Bondi seem to yield more favorable outcomes for defendants. At least 2
Yeah, my son and I were
long-running federal
discussing that we
prosecutions
really
were
have to
brought
go south
after
to
the defendants hired
visit
your brother.
Powell's
It's no surprise that Ed Norton,
bookstore
failed US Attorney
because we
General
love it
and
down
a
there.
senior
It's
official quoted- said, quote, "No MAGA left behind."
are you familiar with Powell's at all? Have you ever been
I'm
out
trying
to
to
this
remember
area?
where is it?
And his political
It's in
allies
down.
may
Well,
engage in
its
misconduct.
principal location is
Last year,
downtown
President Trump's
Portland.
border czar, Tom
And
Homan,
I've
it's
never been to
was
Portland.
allegedly recorded
yeah, it's
sending
a
$50,000
literally a
bag
block of
cash in
books,
exchange for
and
promising immigration
of you
enforcement
mainly
contracts.
used, though
Under
you
your
can get
leadership,
some
the
new.
investigation into
And
Mr. Homan
people
was dropped.
sit in the aisles and
After President
read,
Trump pardoned nearly 1,600 January
or they go
6th
to the
insurrectionists,
coffee shop for
including
their
more than 600
lattes
charged
or
with assaulting
trade
or
in,
impeding
sell
law
books
enforcement.
they've read to
The
pick up
Department of
new
Justice
books
is
they
working
want to
report
read.
that these pardons prove to be
It's a
used for
unique
wholly unrelated
location.
crimes in multiple cases.
That
And
sounds
very,
like that.
very
Jared
much
Weiss
Portland
was filmed on
in
January 6th.
That
attitude.
sounds like that
His fellow
bookstore in
rioters to attack
San
the
Francisco
Metropolitan
that's so
Police Department
famous, where
officers. And
where
he
the
said,
beatniks hung
"F
out.
'em, kill 'em."
Oh, was that City
What
Lights?
happened to Mr.
City
Weiss?
Light, yeah, that's it. City
He was
Yeah.
Light.
hired by you as a senior
Uh,
advisor.
yeah, I got friends who go to
February
every year to the
16th,
Portland
this was, quote,
Theater
"Sitting on my desk
Festival.
right now
There's,
for review.
I don't know what kind of
8
festival
months
it is,
later,
but
you
they
still
go
haven't produced these
every
files.
year, and they're always inviting me, and I
Whistleblower
keep thinking
told
I
the
would like
office
to
that
go because I've never been to
FBI agents were
Portland. And apparently,
prevented
that's a
the
great
records
time to
in
go.
which
A lot of
President Trump was mentioned.
interesting people show
Are
up.
you thinking of the Ashland Shakespeare Festival?
Against the
I
federal
remember that it
agents
was a
in the
Shakespeare
White
fest.
House.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it-
that's
yeah, it is.
Ashland.
Backroom deal.
And but that's Portland, right? That's near.
Well,
they go to.
Agenda.
It's off
Acting
to
U.S.
the
Attorney
side.
Daniel Sassoon
Okay,
It's
yeah,
a separate city, but you kind of include
resigned in
Portland
protest.
while you're there.
Acting U.S.
Well,
Attorney
they
for
fly
the
into
District
Portland.
Virginia,
Yeah.
Alex Siebert, a Republican appointed by President Trump, was forced to resign because he didn't believe there was sufficient evidence.
Yeah, if you want to get a feel of it, just look up Ashland Shakespeare Festival.
James Comey.
You kind of changed your studio setup a little bit where you could.
Someone with no.
I see more than the top of your head.
Well, I adjusted the screens a bit.
She joins a network of unqualified mega lawyers masquerading
I kind
as
of
federal prosecutors,
put the
like Alina.
principal screen up on books and the computer down below it, so you get a whole person.
Well, I saved this. I hadn't actually heard it all yet. AP put together this exchange yesterday where old Trump gets into the pardon. He gets asked about pardoning.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, I hadn't heard the whole thing yet. I was gonna see. That's not it. Oh, I was gonna play it because I hadn't heard exactly what it was that he said here. Play it. Let's see. Yeah.
I confirmed today, Mr. President, and the Supreme Court is back in session. Yeah. They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance at getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're open to?
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Who are we talking about?
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I will speak to the DOJ.
All right, right there.
Yeah, that's.
I hope somebody asks Pam Bondi today.
Yeah.
Surely they will. Ask her, has he spoken to you about Maxwell's pardon? Because he just now said he's going to talk to DOJ, which means Bondi.
Yeah, at that point, you insert Sergeant Schultz with "I know nothing."
Right. Yeah. I mean, whatever he's. I have learned in my continuing search for clues on whether Trump believes his lies or not, which I have never completely decided, but I can tell when he knows he's lying. He gets this real dumbass look on his face, like who, what, where. It's kind of like, the Reagan feint, when he would, and he would just get this like puzzled look, like who are you talking about? What is this? And that's when you, because
that Percy mouth faced.
Yeah, that face right there that we're looking at. That's his "I know I'm lying this time" face. I'm gonna freeze frame that. That's "I know I'm lying, but I'm doing it anyway."
Yeah, how do you be totally unaware of something that's been in the news daily for years?
Well, I mean, something that we know he's obsessing on,
right.
Because good Lord, he's got Speaker Johnson keeping the House shut down just so they can't swear in that new Democrat who's going to be the final vote they need to release to demand releasing the Epstein files. I mean, they're shutting down the entire House of Representatives to avoid a vote on releasing Epstein files. I'll hear the rest of this, I guess. See what else does this.
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I'm wondering. I wonder what the price point is for that pardon. I mean, Epstein doesn't. The Epstein or the Ghislaine Maxwell pardon. That's not a cash deal. That she just has to provide her silence for that pardon. But Puff Daddy, it's going to cost him. Puff Daddy.
Well, he's raked in so much money hand over fist with his side deals that He's going to be one of the few presidents that leaves office a great deal richer than he went in. Assuming he doesn't go to jail.
I mean, massively. It's
Yeah.
they're just there aren't you can't even count the number of ways to count it. They've got so many grifts going on.
Even
And
this,
Melania's got 2 or 3 of her own. You know.
as does Ivanka
Oh yeah.
and Jared with his thing going in the Middle East. Jesus.
Yeah, and everybody, keeps saying, "Oh, the public doesn't care," and I suppose, but I just wonder if if this the massive, brazen corruption doesn't finally dawn on people, what we are witnessing.
And I'm just morally offended by this proposed commemorative coin.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's one of those things. There's so many things they do where it's just proposed, and I do think they float a lot of stuff out there to just distract us and troll us, but it works. I find if that's what they're doing. And that's one I don't see. There's nothing legal about that, about what they're proposing there. I mean, it's just I don't see how they could pull
well,
that
they're
one off.
sort of being sneaky about it by calling it a commemorative coin.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. Is that?
They're not proposing that he be the new dollar coin, which absolutely would be barred.
Well, I mean, they've already got dozens of those that, in the private marketplace, commemorative merchandise that they sell. So this one would be sold by the government, but he's going to want a piece of it. Well, let's see how this finishes out.
Yeah, particularly now that you can buy gold on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just learned the other day that you can buy gold from Costco.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I actually have some gold from Australia and Canada as kind of little collector items,
Oh,
because I thought they were pretty. Oh, what's she saying now?
She's back on now. Let's see. She's doing her thing now. Let's see. We get the volume up.
Investigative work to keep American people safe.
I hate the volume
The FBI
control
just
on
conducted a months-long operation called
C-SPAN's
Summer Heat,
website. It's
which resulted in over
very
8,600
difficult to use. Let me see. I never saw a volume control.
FBI's violent crime and gang program. Under the leadership of Administrator Terry Cole,
that's 100%. That's the best they can do.
47.9 million fentanyl pills and 4,500 kilos of fentanyl powder. That represents 370.
I mean, their arsenal of weapons of mass distraction are just immense now. They've got so many.
This country, including the seizure of nearly $470 million in criminal assets.
Grassley even dug up Bill Clinton.
Under the leadership of Gadi Saralta,
earlier.
Our U.S. Marshals have been the tip of the spear on federal surges and protecting judges and elected officials. Our marshals have arrested more than 51,000 fugitives
with this is going to
nationwide
be when we
since
get
January
like
20th.
Adam Schiff.
Under the leadership of Acting Director Dan Driscoll,
who else is on
ATF
this
has
committee?
taken more than 23,000
Durbin doesn't have quite the
illegal
fire
guns
that he
off
used
our
to. I
streets.
don't know. He might get
3,400 of
Well,
those
they're all
guns are
getting
linked to trafficking
way
between the U.S.
farther
and
over the
Mexico.
hill than they
My
should be
attorneys
to
have done
be in
incredible
office.
work advancing
Yeah,
President
let's start
Trump's
with
agenda
Grassley.
and protecting
Yeah.
the executive branch from judicial overreach. We've been sued more than 400 times since
several of them
January
are getting
20th.
to the point where they can't
Judges
put
have
two
issued more than 90
sentences
temporary
together.
restraining orders against us, more than the previous.
Well, Grassley will be next, I guess, and then Durbin. I forget who else is on this. See, C-SPAN usually lists the committee members on the side here. No,
I don't know if you paid any attention to it. I put up the Supreme Court calendar, and the ones that cases we already know are on the docket.
oh, let's see.
Not today, a couple of days ago.
I thought it was
Yeah. I just didn't know if you had seen it. Because I think there are at least 3 cases that could make a big difference in our freedoms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they and the presidential and the emerging. What did Rachel Maddow call it? The consolidating dictatorship? Is that what she called it? Oh, Pat D put up Kimmel. I hadn't seen. Let's see. Let's get this.
I'm Jimmy. I'm the host. Thank you for watching at home. Thank you for joining us here in our studio. And I'd like to extend a special welcome to those who are still conscious after watching Monday Night Football tonight. Well,
I'm gonna get worried.
and I lead Trump by 16 points. I'm at +3. He's at -13.
that is amazing. And that'll get under Trump's skin that Kimmel has higher favorability.
Well, I think they're finding out the hard way that as far as late night goes, you cannot depend on Nielsen or the ratings for watching while it is gone, because it's gotten so dispersed with people watching the next day on YouTube or TikTok or
yeah. I mean, the YouTube numbers are. I mean, his YouTube numbers they dwarf the network numbers, as YouTube does for everything. I mean, the YouTube takeover of television is really undercovered. It's a big story. Yeah, I will see what else he says about his favorability.
It's nice, but it feels like, considering the fact that I'm not a convicted felon friend of Jeffrey Epstein, and I've never paid off a porn star, sent a team of masked goons into a park to pull an old lady away from her grandchildren, I feel like my rating should be higher, maybe, than at this point, finding a toenail in your
what does he say at this point?
Salad has a 7-point lead over Donald Trump.
At this point, a toenail in your salad has a 7-point lead over Donald Trump in favorability. Oh, and she got Jon Stewart on here.
Welcome to the Daily Show. My name is Jon Stewart. Man, and I say this a lot, and this time, though, seriously, I mean it. I haven't meant it in the past. We've got a great show for you tonight. We truly do.
National parks and monuments are partially.
Should check out the website. And maybe and so Democrats have come forth with a laundry list of demands to force the Republicans. I'm just kidding. They want like 2 things.
Democrats demanding that Republicans reverse cuts to Medicaid and extend expiring Obamacare subsidies to prevent insurance premiums from rising for some 20 million Americans.
Those bastards. It's like they don't even want people to die of generally preventable diseases.
I really love how Pat D posts these. Sometimes this is the only way I don't stay up for the shows, but this is how I catch up with the late night shows.
Yeah, there was no Colbert last night. It was a rerun of Governor Newsom.
And I'm checking Pam Bondi still talking. But I thought this was interesting. This, I mean, it could be just a total bluff, but Trump indicating he'd be open to extending the health care subsidies. I mean, I've thought all along that's how this thing ends, is they agree to extend those Obamacare subsidies, premium subsidies. But I'll be interested if that's what they do, how they spin that as victory.
But they're insisting that they come back off of, they could go ahead and take the vote, call them in for just that vote and get it done. And that would end everything. But they want them to stop the shutdown completely. And the Democrats don't want to do that. We want your
not if all they get is a promise to talk about
right
premium subsidies. They know better than to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's what Trump actually said yesterday. If I get this stupid ad out of the way. We have a negotiation going on with Democrats that could lead to good things. And I'm talking about good things with regard to health care. Now, see, that will drive his people crazy because they've been saying they're not talking to Democrats.
Well, the Democrats are saying nobody's called us.
Yeah. So, I mean, this could be all made up, but it's showing he's feeling some heat here. He's realizing that he's got to start finding a way out and make it his idea.
Yeah, and I love the way they come out and say that this is going to increase costs and injure the budget. Well, in that case, why did you give those tax cuts to the billionaires?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't have it both ways. You can't cut here and cut there so you can boost somewhere else.
Well, of course, that's the that's the Donald Trump difference. He believes he can have it both ways, and he often does.
Can't tell that from the current national debt.
Hey, Blue.
Hi,
I love
Blue.
those.
Hey,
I
Jamie.
love those
Hey, Greg.
sunglasses.
How's your
Those
ear?
are like movie star sunglasses.
No change. No change. So you were talking though about YouTube. Did you see that Trump is upset because Univision they were trying to get a deal with YouTube and it fell through, and he needs Univision because that's the Spanish language version of Fox News. So he's upset that that YouTube isn't carrying Univision right now.
I mean, the things that man spends his time thinking about, you got to wonder how he gets
Yeah.
I mean, he just, I mean,
the weave in his brain.
Yeah. How does he have room in that little brain for all those topics?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure people are feeding it to him. I don't think he comes up with half of this stuff on his own. I think people are saying, "Hey, this is important." He doesn't know. He's an idiot.
Well,
he knows how to grift, and that's his wheelhouse.
Well, where he gets a lot of his information is his billionaire friends at Mar-a-Lago. They come up to him in the dining room or after they play golf or while they play golf, and they tell him, this Univision thing with YouTube, it's a big deal. And then, that's all he knows about it. And he starts writing about it on his Truth Social or what. I mean, he does that on topic after it drives his staff crazy. I mean, that's one reason they try to keep him away from those people.
I wonder how much pull Univision has anymore, though, because so it's basically Spanish language Fox News. But like my best friend in Texas is Hispanic, and she is mortified that she voted for him because she thought he was going to go after criminals and and she didn't like Kamala because she just laughed too much, and she's in her 80s. I get it, but now they're going after her community, and she is mortified. And so I just wonder if there's anybody I wonder if he still has anybody in that base that is Latina that is still on board with what ICE is doing. Surely they see. But so I don't know if Univision is actually that important. But anyway, he said that yesterday.
I mean, I have seen some polling. There are some polling numbers that show some slippage there, but not as much as you
particularly
think.
after, I mean, Miller's rant yesterday was, the man has completely slipped a cog.
Well, the thing about Stephen Miller that they forget is he cost them the 2018 midterms. They lost the midterms thanks to Stephen Miller because Kids in Cages was his idea. And that's one of the big reasons they lost the midterm in 2018. And he's doing it again.
Well, they
He's
call him Weird Old
another
Steven.
midterm.
They call him Weird Steven. So, I mean, I don't think anybody's a fan of his, but
his family, especially.
Yeah, but I think he keeps. Think he keeps a toe in the white nationalist pool, so that nobody forgets that that's what they are really aiming for. So.
Yep. And his uncle his uncle's been very vocal about his problems with Miller. He wrote a whole piece for the Atlantic about it, talking about the hypocrisy of the fact that if America had the policies Miller wants now, when his family, none of their family would be here. In fact, he argues they'd probably be dead from the Holocaust because that's where they were, and that's what they escaped to come here. But under Miller's policies, they wouldn't get here.
I mean, psychologically, I'd like to see. I mean, it's the self-hatred there. It's just he's really messed up. Really messed up.
Oh, Durbin's. We're finally getting to questioning by Democrats. All the speeches are over.
You voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here. Our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
They're making a real theater out of this.
That's the kind of testimony
these Democrats,
from this administration.
Patel,
a simple question as to
RFK Jr. You just return fire. Just fire back. Don't answer anything.
For personal attack. I think it's a legitimate question. It's my responsibility. She refuses to answer as to whether she had any conversation with the White House about deploying national troops to my state. That's an indication, I'm afraid, where we are politically in this place. Let me ask you another question. I want to, if you will, hold on a second. Make sure I got the right page of facts here. You testified under oath when you last before this committee that before your appointment to Attorney General, you had served as a representative of some sort for the royal family of Qatar.
This is great stuff.
In May when President
you know about this. She was getting $100,000 a month
from the royal family of Qatar for temporary use as Air Force One before it was permanently gifted.
To this day, nobody knows what it was for.
The Trump Presidential Library Foundation. The Constitution unequivocally bestows on Congress the power to control whether any officer of the United States, including the president, may accept a gift, quote, from any king, prince, or foreign state, end of quote. And this gift clearly violates the statutory regime enacted by Congress. You've refused to answer a letter I sent to you 5 months ago, asking the legal rationale you relied on to advise President Trump to accept this unprecedented gift from
I've seen the lobbying contract she had with Qatar over that, and all it says, it doesn't say anything about what it's for.
Disclose what ranking member?
I assume,
but it was $100,000 a month. He should be saying that every other word.
Your office to the White House to advise them that you felt it was permissible.
First, to address my role with Qatar, as I addressed with you during my confirmation hearing, I disclosed it in my SJQ. In private practice, I worked for Qatar for anti-human trafficking for the World Cup. That was my only involvement, and I made that very clear, and I'm very proud of everything I've done with anti-human trafficking.
And you know, when she was Attorney General, they gave Epstein
or anything else, we consult
a pass.
Why doesn't he go on that? Why doesn't he do that?
Applies to their input as well.
I know.
And Chairman, if you would approve and vote to approve, as Chairman Grassley said, excuse me, Ranking Member, as Chairman Grassley said, my employees, we would answer
These
your
Democrats,
letters a
they
lot
go back
faster.
and forth
Yet
on
you're
whether to
stalling
play the
them
Epstein
at
card.
every
I mean, I
stop.
noticed
And to go
They
Schumer
back
need
did
to
make
to
the
your
just do
previous
it.
did bring it up
question,
the other day, but
your
They
city
need to
has a
do it.
murder rate 5 times higher
so
than
now
New
she's going to
York's.
talk about
571
Chicago's murder rate instead of
homicides last
her
year.
They should
bribe.
talk about.
You were
They should talk
serious
about like
about
Houston's murder
protecting your
rate
people. You would be
and
asking this
St.
administration
Louis's
for
and
help.
all the red
You're
states.
saying that we're coming into your state and your city. We're there to help make America safe and Illinois safe, whether or not
Look at that. I mean, that is so classic.
Pritzker doesn't want
I believe
want him
cutting
there.
federal
What
grant
aboutism?
programs to law enforcement in my state and across the nation does not make us any safer, and you've done just that. You've supplanted that decision by sending in National Guard troops to California and other places. That is
Now,
a
see, she just
situation
drew
where the
him
governors have
off
not
his
asked for that
off his
help.
game.
If you truly
Now he's
wanted to
now
do
he's
this on a
arguing with her
bipartisan basis,
about
you wouldn't
crime
defy
in
a governor,
cities,
you would work with them. I'm
he's off
prepared to do that.
his talk.
I'm prepared to work with this
his agenda.
administration. But cutting these grants to law enforcement does
she
not
managed
make
to
us
knock
any
him off.
stronger as a
Debate-
nation or
a
give
high
us the
school debate
tools we
class
need
could
to
do better
reduce crime
against
in
her.
Chicago. Now,
What's
I'd just
wrong
like to
with him?
ask you, when it came to this Cutter situation, did you consult with
Okay.
the ethics
All right,
office
get back to your
in
subject.
the Department of Justice before making your decision on this gift of a jet?
Chairman, I didn't gift a jet to anyone.
You
My
approved it.
Office of Legal Counsel provides confidential advice to the president, to the White House, period. And you're conflating two issues. Cutting grants, I was very clear about what grants we've cut and what grants
I
we
see
haven't.
he's
Only
connecting
7%.
her
And if
approval
you have
of
a
the-
grant in
of the
Illinois
Cutter
that you
jet,
think that I've cut that is
to
not
her
protect, that is protecting law
$100,000 a
enforcement
month, which
officers
he
or your
didn't
people,
never did
you
say.
personally call me and I will
Contract
work with
with
you
Cutter.
to turn that grant back on. I think many of the Democrats here can tell you, I have worked with them to turn grants back on. There's an appeal process. Tell me a specific grant that I have turned off in Illinois that would help law enforcement, and I will work with you. But you have not done that.
Did you
And
take a
again,
look? Did you take a
the
look?
National Guard is on the way right now as we
So
speak.
she's
By the
trying
way,
to
so
get
is
back
Director
on
Patel
crime
and
in
Deputy
Chicago.
Attorney General Todd Blanche. You're sitting here grilling me, and they're on their way to Chicago to keep your state safe.
Madam Attorney
Illegally
General,
on
it's
their
my
way to
job
Chicago.
tell you. Investigation of your agency is part of my responsibility, and this committee.
Did I freeze her?
You may not like the experience, but others have weathered the storm and answered questions in a respectful manner.
Can you tell me the grants,
Yes.
Ranking Member, please?
Take a look at the president's budget on HIDA grants. What happens to it in his proposed budget?
I'd be glad to meet with you on the
It's
grants.
cut by 1/3 from $300 million to 196. That's one example of a grant that works, and your administration has suggested cutting it, and the budget lies ahead. I want to ask you about items in a letter I sent you in July that you have not answered. In February, you made a public claim that the Epstein client list was, quote,
Here we
sitting on
go.
my desk right now for review, end of quote. You then produced already public information and no client list at a major media event hosted at the White House. Attorney General Bondi, why did you publicly claim to
That
have the
event
Epstein
really
client
pissed off
list
the
waiting
right-wing
for your review
echo
and then
chambers.
produced nothing relevant to that
They're
claim?
mad at her because none of those records had anything.
Senator Durbin, if you listen to my entire clip on that, I said I had not reviewed it yet, that it was sitting on my desk along with the JFK files, the Martin Luther King files. And I said I had not yet reviewed it. And if you see our memo on Epstein, you will see, excuse me, our memo on Epstein clearly points out that there was no client list, our July 6th memo. You also didn't let me respond to the HIDA question. The budget transfers $196 million for high-intensity drug trafficking areas to the Office of Justice Programs, OJP.
Well, she had her
The
staff
Justice
at the ready
Department
on
will
that one.
Continue to
They
administer
handed her
those
handed
grants
her a
under
fact
OJP
sheet.
in 2026.
Going back to the Epstein files, according to
Yeah.
another
Don't let her
whistleblower who
change
made
the
a
subject.
protected disclosure to my office,
You got to stay
he pushed the
disciplined with
FBI
these
to review
people. You
approximately
can't let them draw you
100,000
away.
Epstein-related records on an arbitrarily short deadline in March, and the FBI was directed to flag any documents that mentioned President Trump. Nothing came of that review until July when DOJ and FBI released an unsigned memo stating, quote, "There's no incriminating client list." Why was the July 7th memo unsigned?
The July 7th memo came from the FBI and the Department of Justice. Director Patel answered those questions very clear. And, you know, Senator Durbin, I find it very interesting
Here we go.
that you refused repeated Republican requests to release the Epstein flight logs in 2023 and 2024. You fought that. Did you take money from Reid Hoffman, campaign donations,
Never
who was a
heard.
huge Epstein friend? Why did you fight for years? Why did you fight to not
They're Democrats are
disclose the,
vulnerable on this.
the flight
They
logs,
sat on
Senator
these
Durbin?
files too. That's true.
I can tell you I did not refuse. One of the senators here wished to produce those logs, and I asked her to put
But they
it
didn't
in
promise
writing,
to
and she
release
never
them.
did.
That's
I think
the
Senator
difference.
Blackburn would quarrel with you on that. But
Well,
that's
I will
up to the
quarrel
two
with
of
you as to read somebody that you mentioned I never heard of.
Reid Hoffman.
So who gave the order to flag records related to President Trump?
Okay, yeah. Stick.
To flag records for President Trump?
Flag any records which included his name.
I'm not going to discuss anything about that with you, Senator.
Eventually, you're going to have to answer for your
Yeah.
conduct in this. You won't do it today, but eventually you will.
And I'm not even going to give you a reason. I'm just not going to do it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah,
Because
Mr.
she would
Chairman.
perjure herself for sure.
Mr. Chairman, since Senator Durbin referred to me, I would really appreciate the opportunity to correct the record.
Proceed.
Because Senator Durbin knows I repeatedly
Is
asked
that Marcia Blackburn?
for those
Yep.
flight logs. I brought up
Oh,
the
boy.
subpoena. You even shut down the committee because you didn't want that, and you know
Taylor
I
Swift tried to
submitted
stop
that
her
in writing,
election.
and you continue to misrepresent
Even Taylor
that.
Swift couldn't
And
stop
I
it.
am not going to let
Yeah.
that record stand.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead, Senator Durbin.
I just want to make it clear that the reason the committee business ended was that your side invoked the 2-hour rule. Point number 2 is I asked you if you wanted any documents like flight logs to put it in writing. You never did.
Yes, sir, I did. And your staff knows that I did.
No,
We'll submit, once again,
Send me a copy of
the
that,
information to you. We've done that several times, but we'll be happy to, once again, send it to you. I think your staff doesn't show that to
I
you.
hope Democrats just stay on Epstein and make that the
Started to
story
say
today.
about the
That'd be the
emolument
best thing they could
clause.
do.
Yep.
Democrats bringing
That's
that
what
up
it
in
would be.
regard to Qatar back in March of 2016.
And Trump
They
said
didn't
yesterday
care
he was
anything
going to
about
talk to
my
DOJ
bringing
about
up the
pardoning
emolument
Maxwell, and
clause
Pam
in
Bondi
regard
is
to
DOJ.
the,
So I hope somebody asks her about
Obama
that.
Justice Department.
Yeah.
That letter was based on Secretary Clinton's 2009 to
See, now here,
2013
this is
financial
Grassley's
disclosures
agenda. He
when she
started
was
this in his
Secretary
opening
of
statement.
State.
He wants to talk
Those
about the Clinton
disclosures
years
showed
and the
that her
Biden
husband
years. He doesn't want to
participated
talk
in at
about
least
the president.
62 events with foreign states. Some of those were speaking events with connections
in line
to
for
foreign
president.
governments, and some speaking events were financially supported by foreign governments. 2 examples, Bill Clinton received hundreds of thousands of dollars.
He is
for
literally
affairs
going back
That
to
doesn't
Bill
have
Clinton.
Middle
anything to
Eastern
do with
governments.
this. Oh my
Bill
gosh.
Clinton also received
That's what
$200,000
they're,
for speech.
that's just one of their,
to the
it's one of their
Chinese
more
government,
pathetic
and I
weapons
don't
of mass
recall
distraction.
getting
is
any help from my
Yeah.
Democrat
Digging up
colleagues
Bill
on
Clinton.
that investigation. Senator Graham.
Oh, here we go.
Good morning.
This will be a love fest.
Good morning.
And thank you. So I want to make sure I got this clear. If a Democrat or a Republican senator has a problem with a grant that's been canceled or reduced, you would be glad to talk to them.
Yes, Senator, and I have been doing that as well.
There have been Democratic members who called you,
They have spoken to my office, yes, Senator,
and you've tried to respond.
on either side of course, if it has anything to do with law
So-
enforcement or victims,
And that includes Senator Durbin. If he's got a problem, he can call you and you'll try to respond.
absolutely.
Thank you. How many illegal
I'm so
immigrants
sweet
are
and
in
nice
Chicago?
and good.
Yeah. He thinks he made such a point.
Yeah, I
guess.
can't watch this part. I gotta
Does
go.
anybody know?
I do, countless.
Well, here, I wanted to see this stuff. Did you, in case you
What
didn't
we
see
have
it,
seen since
what
January 20.
Trump said yesterday about the pardon, about pardoning Maxwell. 3 times here he says, I got to talk to DOJ, which of course means Bondi.
I confirmed today, Mr. President, and the Supreme Court is back in session. They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance at getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're open to?
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Who are we talking about? Who that? Who that?
You know, I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't.
Today, Mr. President, and they
that was the first one. And
rejected today an appeal conviction. That means her only chance of prison. Something you're open to.
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
who are we talking about?
You know, I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I'll speak. I will speak to the DA.
There's number 2.
DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency?
In fact,
I
you said
don't know.
DOJ
I mean, I
twice
have to
that
speak
time.
to the DOJ. I'll look at it.
Oh, there's number 3.
I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
So there you have it. 3 times he said he would speak to DOJ.
Honestly, I really cannot handle Bondi. She just makes me so furious. I'd like to wring her little blonde neck.
She's I'm sorry to say that
she's effective.
That she's well, I'm sorry to say that. I think you're right about that. But what I'm really sorry to say is we graduated from the same law school. Although we didn't overlap. She went much later than I did.
You have my deepest sympathy.
Yeah. At one point, when the Postmaster General was still there before he quit, that was my other college. Actually, we did go to school at the same time, but I had 2 of my college and law school alums in the Trump administration at one point.
No, but watching all of this going on reminded me of growing up in the period I did. When you think of the boomers in the 1950s, so I started writing a blog article called My Little Town.
Yeah.
And looking back on it now, I see what they're seeing that they want to get back to, this idealized image of suburbia, and it was a special place. It really was. It was a much gentler, kinder, nice place.
Yeah, and I grew up in Orlando pre-Disney, and for a lot of the years after Disney, but it was basically a small cow town. You know, cows and orange trees and mosquitoes. Only 3 things we really had.
Well, what was interesting about Westchester is that you think of the sprawl that is Los Angeles. And here was this little enclave centered on 2 major thoroughfares and snuggled up against the airport, which eventually became LAX. And all of the streets were named after pilots or famous air people.
Uh-huh.
So that made up this tiny, well, the main street was about 4 blocks long.
Mm-hmm.
And it still had 2 theaters that were premier red carpet, Klieg light theaters, just because it was in the middle of anywhere you wanted to go. And yet it was still a tiny town. Mm-hmm. Because if you went over one road, you hit the beach. If you went over another road, you hit the airport. And it was the way out of town before there were freeways. And the schools were out of this world. But of course, right following World War II, it was also redlined. There were no black people anywhere around.
Yeah.
We knew they were over there in Inglewood, but they weren't where we were. And eventually now that whole area, once the civil rights legislation passed and middle-class black families could move in, it is now virtually all black and Hispanic. But when I was there, it was all white. But the kids rode their bicycles, and from the time school let out until you reported home for dinner, nobody cared where you were. Nobody looked for you. You know?
Yeah.
And of course, those people that want that life back, well, you can't have it.
No. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I've always thought Make America Great Again is really Make America White Again.
Right. Make America 1950s again. You know, the black people stayed over there. Even the well-behaved ones, you know, they weren't the massive slums you think about in Los Angeles. I mean, even when the Watts riots happened initially, I was living up in Northern California by that time, and my response to it was, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner.
Yeah.
Because it was so justified. And I don't know, there is something wrong with those people that they don't have the imagination to know that human beings are human beings. And there are good ones and there are bad ones. And it makes me sad to see what the country is becoming. I don't like them. I flat out do not like those people.
Yeah, Trump has really unleashed something that I guess was there, and
it's always been there, kind of percolating under the surface.
Yeah,
and
and we saw it like with the Tea Party, and I mean but Republicans kind of paid lip service to it, but until Trump came along, they didn't actually put those people fully in charge of the party, and that's what's happened now.
Yeah, they were always that little percentage we don't talk about, whether it was the John Birch Society or and I sent you that newsletter from the California Republican Assembly, and they're still crazy, except now they're in charge.
Now they're in charge. That's the big difference.
And I just hope they don't destroy the country before we're able to kind of at least stomp them down into their 30% of the nation that they are.
About it, sculptor information.
Let's see, Lindsay's getting all worked up here about
how in the hell can two FBI agents
about
interview a man who says the document you're using against a sitting president to suggest he may be a Russian agent or Carter Page that is now no longer reliable. How does that not get to the court? Can you tell me how that doesn't get to the court? You can't, can you?
I can't, Senator, and I
Can
can't.
you tell me why my phone records, when I'm the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, were sought by the Jack Smith?
That's this story.
Why did they ask to know who I called and what
this
I
is
was
their new
from
weapon of
January
mass
4th
distraction
to the
that they just
7th?
kicked up last night.
No, Senator, and there were 8 senators in total.
Don Bongino and Kash Patel.
Use of power?
Senator, I
went
cannot
on
discuss
Fox
whether
to
there
say
is or
that
is not an ongoing
they've got
investigation.
proof that Jack
If I
Smith
may
was
add one
tapping
thing,
phone
they
records
also
of
wasted
senators.
$50 million
And all they've got is a memo that's heavily redacted.
in jail.
it's unclear to me what it
Before
shows.
Senator Whitehouse, I want to introduce
They've
into
gone
the record
wild with this story.
There's
now.
a small problem. You can't get to the courts if nobody brings a suit.
To John
Yeah,
Evans'
or
report,
charges.
Crossfire Hurricane.
All this
Durham
is
Annex
showing
contains information.
is that, and I'm not even sure it shows that until I see something more, is that they were investigating, as part of their investigation of January 6th, they were looking into the possibility that members of Congress were participating with January 6th people, and as part of that, they got a court order and subpoenaed, confidential, to look at the phone records of some senators, and but it never led to anything. So, like you're saying, it never led to charges, never went to court, and him saying it didn't go to court, they did get a warrant for that.
Yeah, and if they are upset about it, then bring a suit.
Yeah. But I when I saw this last night, I thought, oh, this is in preparation for the Bondi hearing. Is they're going to use this to derail this hearing into focusing on the Biden administration, because this happened under Biden's administration. So this is it was all over Fox last night. This is their big ploy to change the subject. Their favorite tactic. What aboutism? What about a redacted memo that appears to show some senators' phone records were looked at? Perpetrators. Now the FBI investigators are perpetrators. Breathtaking. Grassley's already called it worse than Watergate.
I just wish we had somebody on that committee that had the power to respond to it. We are sitting here saying these guys are full of hot air.
When there's Sheldon Whitehouse coming up, he'll get the job done. There he is. He's the man. He's probably got his own agenda right now, but oh, good. He's getting into the home and bribe.
Okay.
Everybody's got something. There's something for everybody in this hearing.
I can't hear her or him.
Yeah, C-SPAN drives me nuts. They
Did
don't
you
give us? Oh, I have the volume.
And
Oh, I'm
DOJ
sorry, I had it
prosecutors.
muted.
They found no credible evidence
goodness.
of any wrongdoing.
And that was not my question. My question was, what became of the $50,000 in cash that the FBI delivered, evidently in a paper bag, to Mr. Homan?
Senator, I'd look at your facts.
I'd look at your facts. What's that? What kind of
Are
answer
you
is
saying
that?
they did not deliver $50,000 in cash to Mr. Homan?
Senator, as recently stated, the investigation of Mr. Homan was subjected to a full
A different
review
question.
by the FBI agents,
Go,
That's
by
Sheldon.
Department of Justice prosecutors. They found no evidence of wrongdoing.
That's a different question. What became of the $50,000? Did the FBI get it back?
Yeah,
Mr.
that's a good
Whitehouse,
question.
excuse me, Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to talk to the FBI.
The report to you, can't you answer this question?
Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to discuss this with Director Patel.
Oh, and
Did
she's so proud of herself. Of her little
Homan
dodge.
keep the $50,000?
That's a great
As
question to
Deputy
bring up. Is
Attorney
the
General
undercover
Todd
agent
Blanche
gave
recently
the
stated
border czar's
the
Homan
investigation
Never mind.
$50,000
Never mind. I can see I'm not going to get a
for a
straight
bribe.
answer from you to a very simple
by the
But we don't know
FBI
if he
agents
kept it or
and
not.
the
He might have
DOJ.
kept it.
They
That's
found
what
no
Sheldon's getting
credible
at, I guess.
evidence of wrongdoing. You know, you're very concerned about money and people taking money, and you
You
rail
know,
against
wait a
dark
second.
money.
No, she's about
Yeah,
to
you
change the
work with
subject.
dark
Don't let her.
money groups all the time, Senator
Wait a
Whitehouse.
second.
Oh,
Did
don't
you
let
know
her. Stop her.
whether or not in that investigation they looked at whether the 2024 $50,000 payment to Mr. Homan was declared by him on his tax returns?
Senator, I would be more concerned if I were you when you talk about corruption.
Change the
money
subject.
that you,
Change the
when you
subject.
pushed for legislation
What about
that would
his-
subsidize your
what about?
wife's company.
The questions
That's
here
the
are
thing. Just
actually
ignore
pretty
what she's saying
specific.
and keep going.
So having you respond with completely irrelevant far-right internet talking points really is not very helpful here. I'd like, Mr. Chairman, you generally like to have us be able to get answers to know, and we'll follow up with the QFR. And to the extent Patel wants to answer, that would be great as well. What happened to the $50,000? Did Homan keep it?
That's a great
FBI get it
focus. I
back?
hadn't thought about
If
that
he
in this
kept it, did
case,
he
is
put it on
what
his
did
tax
happen to that
returns?
money.
Pretty simple questions. Homan was the same guy who said there was a deal with Eric Adams. He said, if Adams doesn't come through, I'll be back.
Yeah.
I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, where the hell is the agreement we came to? Which brings us to the OPR investigation of prosecutorial misconduct by Emil Bovey, because he was also involved.
Oh,
in that
there's your favorite,
transaction.
Jamie.
What
Bovey.
became of the OPR investigation
he's your favorite.
of prosecutorial misconduct by Emil Bovey?
Yeah, Senator Whitehouse, to correct you for one moment, that would be the Honorable Judge Emil J. Bovey III to you.
Not at the time of this. He was an employee of the Department of Justice. And what became of the OPR investigation?
It's
into
all
his
pending litigation.
misconduct?
Senator. I
How's
can't
that for a
discuss
dodge?
pending litigation, nor
Complaining
personal
that he
matters.
didn't refer to the guy by his current
OPR.
title.
Customarily publicly says when there's an investigation, and at the end of it, they provide a summary. Why can't you say whether there's an OPR investigation and whether, if it's concluded, there's a summary?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss personnel matters.
Even public ones.
Senator, I'm not going to discuss personnel matters.
So Kash Patel told this committee that his grand jury testimony
In her own way, she is amazing.
after immunization, after
Oh, yeah.
initially pleading
You know.
the fifth,
Oh,
was,
I mean, Trump's
and I quote,
I
loving
don't
this.
care what you want to know.
By the
I'm
Department
not
of
going to
Justice.
tell you.
Yeah.
how and when and why.
I see her. Their
was his
crowd loves
testimony
that. 'Cause
sealed
she's
and by
sticking it to
whom?
the Democrats.
Senator, I'm not going to discuss any testimony, especially testimony that could be sealed with you.
No, the question
Sealed.
is, was it or was it not sealed?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss that with you.
She's not going to discuss whether it
Well,
was sealed or not because it
He also
might be
said that he
sealed.
worked with the Department of Justice to have his transcript released publicly.
They don't
How
engage Sheldon
and
because
when
he's just so
was
damn
his
good at it.
transcript
You know, they
released?
can't
Presumably,
risk
if you
actually
released it
answering
publicly,
his
that's
questions.
something you can discuss because it's public.
Well, Senator, I believe you discussed that with Director Patel.
And I'm asking you because he said the Department of Justice made this decision and you run the Department of Justice.
I would refer that to Director Patel.
Even though you run the Department of Justice and he testified that the Department of Justice released his transcript publicly.
If it is released publicly, we will get you a copy, Senator, gladly.
But we won't discuss it.
If, being a rather important word there, when your FBI director testified that that was a fact. Treasury compiles suspicious activity reports, referred to often as SARS.
Oh, there's a dodge to start
that
coughing.
DOJ receives automatically. Hundreds related to accounts.
You can tell she's
of
bothered by him.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh yeah, they're
How
afraid
many
of him. I
those
mean,
Treasury
you know, they
SARS
because
did
he's
you
good
or
at
Director
it.
Patel investigate?
They just try to get through it without answering any of his questions.
Senator, I'm not sure if you're concerned because you took money, I believe, did you, from Reid Hoffman, one of Epstein's closest confidants?
What is this
not
Reid
only
Hoffman?
once, but twice
That's
in
the second time she brought
2018
up
and
Reid Hoffman. I'll
2024,
have to
if
look
that's
into that. I
correct.
don't know who that is.
But Senator, Did you ask Merrick Garland any of this over the last 4 years when he sat before you?
What about
This
his?
investigation
What
has
about?
been going on. This investigation was closed. Did you ask Alex
When
Acosta
you
that?
and Patel came to office,
The
you
answer
said
to
you
what
would look into
aboutism
this.
is so what?
There were hundreds of suspicious activity reports. Some people would deduce from the fact that they are called suspicious activity reports that there might be suspicious activity. And yet you seem to have looked at 0 of those suspicious activity reports involving Jeffrey Epstein accounts. Let me ask you something else. There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe.
This is made
I could be
for
wrong,
Fox.
correct me, Reed Hoffman,
Sound bites.
who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photographs.
Yeah, because you're the one with the records
The
who
question
won't
is,
release them. That's you.
did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them?
See, that's what's in the records. One of the things in the records is the
You don't know
fruits
anything
of their
about that.
search of Epstein's properties.
Okay.
We don't know what they found.
Here's what well, no, we cut to something else. The Marshal Service is supposed to protect our federal judges. I have asked repeatedly for the Marshal Service to let me know if they are investigating or being inhibited from investigating whether or not there is orchestration of threats against federal judges, whether under either conspiracy laws or racketeering enterprise laws or aiding and abetting laws, whatever. But as you know, there's the person who says the threat, and then there may very well be somebody orchestrating the threat behind them. Is the Marshal Service allowed to investigate orchestration of threats? And do you know if they've taken one step to do so?
May I answer the question, Chairman Grassley? The time has expired.
I think
That's
it's
the
the
ultimate
convention of the
dodge.
committee that if I've started
You're out
my
of time,
question
buddy.
in my
Now,
time,
what about
you may
this
answer the
fire
question.
and
Asking the chairman.
explosion?
In South Carolina?
Yeah.
She wants to answer the
I
question.
know. I can't believe
go
that's
ahead.
not
I
getting
thought you
more
said you didn't
attention.
want to answer it.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
We don't
sorry.
have
Thank
answers
you.
yet, but that's
Senator
the reason it
Whitehouse,
should get attention.
I
I
be
mean, 3
happy to
people
sit down
had
with
major
you regarding
injuries coming out
Yeah.
of that.
to any federal judge
And when
in
you look at
this
how that house
country.
burned down, I
We
mean,
take threats
I can't
very
believe that was
seriously. I will set a
not
meeting
some sort
with
of
you,
explosion.
with Director Serralta
Well, they know
of the
it was
U.S.
some
Marshals,
sort of
and I
explosion.
will
They
be
just
there.
don't know
And
if
we
it
will
was
talk about
arson
any threats on
Right.
federal judges,
or there
who
is an
threatened
ongoing
them or who
investigation.
orchestrated them.
Bingo.
But
Thank
to
you.
have to jump off of the second
Before
story,
Warren
and
speaks,
I think
I get kind
one
of
broke a
amused about my
pelvis and the
Democratic
other legs.
Yeah. The judge herself wasn't there, right?
No, she was on the beach. But there were children in that house.
Oh, Grassley. Yeah, that is not getting the coverage it ought to.
Moment. Let me see if there's anything new on it.
I tell you, Sheldon Whitehouse is one of the unsung heroes of the Senate. I mean, he's just about, I guess he's my favorite senator, has been for a long time. And he's just such a bulldog. I mean, when he gets into stuff, I mean, he just does not let go.
Okay. The most recent thing on that is that at this time, there is no evidence to indicate the fire was intentionally set.
I guess that's what's holding off the coverage, you know, is if it truly was an accident, then people don't want to pump it up as some sort of political thing. But as soon as they find out it was intentional, that might change.
Yeah, Keel added, suggesting his team believed the fire was the result of a domestic accident.
Huh. Huh.
Huh.
I mean, so that would have to be
like a gas explosion or something internally.
Yeah, we had a case here in DC a few months back where a propane tank exploded, a gas, I think it was a heater for a pool, for heating a pool. And I never did understand. I know a bit about those because we had one in Orlando for our pool. And there are so many safety precautions on propane tanks for that kind of thing. I just can't believe one can just explode like that. I mean,
right. New York Democratic Congressman Daniel Goldman raised concern in a post that MAGA world have been doxing and threatening judges who rule against Trump. But
yeah, I think that's where Sheldon was headed. They're not investigating because they've shut down the investigations of white supremacist groups. They've severed ties to what's the Jewish group that fights anti-Semitism and the Southern Poverty Law Center. They've one of the things she's doing behind the scenes is shutting down all investigations of any right-wing groups.
And they're requesting that South Carolina turn over personal data of more than 3.3 million voters.
Yeah, that's the case she ruled on, right?
Right. And one thing Newsom has brought up is he is wondering if we could even trust the next election at all, due to them having all of this voter information.
I mean, it is a multi-pronged assault on the midterm elections that is totally behind the scenes.
I honestly think that unless we can swing that midterm, we might never see an honest election again.
Yeah. That would be the pattern of what are called electoral autocracies. I mean, I love that phrase because that's what we're looking at. I think Ruth Ben Gott was the first time I heard that phrase, but it really applies to like Hungary, to others, and apparently us. Electoral, where you take over a democracy and turn it into an autocracy by taking over elections and judges and everybody else, media.
Did you see the resignation in France?
That was odd. The president of France only after a few months in office?
Right. Well, not even that. I think they said something like 37 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really short.
Yeah, what I saw on that was that he lost his coalition somehow, and it seemed like a political thing. I didn't see any other reason for it. But
I know that the resistance is centered around Le Pen and her right-wing slant,
which you can put slash Putin in that.
Right.
That's a slash Putin, pin slash Putin operation. See what our
Reuters has Macron trying to hold last-ditch talks to end the crisis.
Yeah, I did see where it's up to Macron what they do next about it. I saw.
He's the 5th French PM to quit in 3 years, and whether or not Macron can survive. Yeah. So again, we're looking at this whole drift right. And one thing I brought up yesterday on the site, we're talking about wiping out whole populations, such as the Palestinians, but there are 3 ongoing situations in Africa.
Like what?
Just trying to wipe out populations, and our right wing has a vested interest because one of them is an out and out attack on Christians to wipe them out. Genocide.
This is in Africa?
Yeah, Africa.
Yeah, that's an area Putin's always been very active in.
Yes.
I've never quite understood
I know one
why.
of them is in Sudan. And
well, Putin sells them a lot of oil. I know that.
Right.
That's one of his motivations for getting involved in Africa.
See what I can pull up. Let's see.
Got Cornyn still talking.
Yeah, where they get it wrong, it isn't against white Christians, it's against Christians. But they're black in Nigeria and Sudan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Muslim against Christian situation. But our side is trying to make it sound as if it's white Christians, which is why they imported the group from South Africa.
Oh, yeah, I noticed they've got a proposal to shut down visas for pretty much everybody in the world except South Africans.
Right. You know, that's Musk and his crowd.
Right.
Yeah, there are genocidal attacks against Christians, but they're not the white ones. It's religious Muslim against Christian. But I don't suppose we're giving them visas to get out of town.
Yeah.
I decided I suffer from excess curiosity. Anyway, are you and David up to anything interesting?
We're going to Red Lobster today.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, here's Klobuchar.
Oh, good.
Let me get Klobuchar on here. Let's see there. Oh, I just got to hit the mute button there.
Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband and the shooting of Senator John Hoffman. Just last month, my state was again shaken to its core when a mass shooter attacked Annunciation Catholic Church in Minnesota, shooting through the stained glass windows, injuring 21 people, including 18 kids, killing little Fletcher, little Harper, an 8 and a 10-year-old, murdering them when they're in mass, praying, 12-year-olds protecting 8-year-olds. I know we've spoken about these tragedies, and we both agree that this kind of violence, whether in Minnesota or at a Mormon church in Michigan or the assassination of Charlie Kirk, has no place in our politics or in our democracy. In 2018, after the Parkland shooting, you were Attorney General, and there was a bill called the
She was, I remember in the, was it in the 2020 campaign?
The bill banned
was she your candidate, your favorite?
Yes. To purchase a firearm
Yes,
in
I thought
Florida
so, yeah.
from 18 to 21.
She was the one I wanted.
Defended the law in court from a challenge from the NRA. And we
She's
know
still
that
around.
I'm in favor of an assault weapon ban, period. I look at these bills and I think, does this hurt my Uncle Dick in the deer stand? We have a proud tradition of hunting in Minnesota. I don't think they do. But as
my Uncle Dick
in
in the deer stand. That's quite a phrase.
In the chair you are sitting in right now,
I don't know.
that assault weapon
I might
ban
have to
could
process
prevent
that
future attacks. I talked
Yeah,
to
she
him
can.
about better
What I like
background
best
checks,
about her
red
is she
flag
can
laws,
talk to
and then
that
perhaps we could
Midwest
find common ground
ethos.
on what actually happened in Florida, which would be to at least change the minimum age for purchasing assault weapon, because we've got 18 to 20-year-olds commit gun homicides at over triple the rate of adults 21 years and over, even though that wouldn't helped in Annunciation.
You know, this could easily be a woman thing, a gender thing.
But as you know, the shooter at Parkland was 19 years old.
One thing I've always heard about her is her staff.
We're both 18
She has a fair amount of turnover.
So given your efforts in Florida,
she has a reputation for being very rough on staff.
Purchasing assault weapons could reduce the
but
number
that
of
sometimes happens.
Senator, first,
sometimes that's a woman thing where women,
and I can't discuss that at all. The 21 is
where
pending
that gets
litigation.
exaggerated in the cases of a woman
I
boss.
could go back
I really
the 21 age is pending litigation.
I
I
think
can't discuss that.
One
But
thing
Senator,
that
back
a
to
woman
what
boss
you
seems
said
to
about
work
what
better
happened in
with
Minnesota.
men under
There
her
is no place
than
for
other
that, and
women.
I believe I spoke to you after that.
I do not know what
Horrific.
the psychological aspect of that is,
And,
but it
I'm so
exists.
sorry that happened. And all of my federal agencies were partnering.
No, she
with
does have a
state
reputation
agencies,
for having a
working
temper
hand
and
in
being
hand
something of a
in Minnesota.
perfectionist.
What
Yeah.
I can tell
Which
you
might not
about
be
the
a bad
Second
thing in
Amendment
a president.
this is the most pro-Second Amendment DOJ in American history, as you know.
Well, what I
But we
always
want to
look
keep
at it
guns,
when
as
those
you
kind of
said,
issues
where
come
they
up,
should be, in the hands
and
of
I noticed this with
law-abiding
Kamala,
American citizens,
going back to
while
her
keeping
Senate
them
days, going
out
back
of
to
the
her
hands of
2016
criminals
campaign,
and gangs.
is turnover.
Since
I look at that for
January
both men and
the
women. When I'm
ATF and
evaluating
FBI have
candidates,
more than
presidential
30,000
candidates, is I look at that. That matters. I mean,
10 minutes.
I think that's a red flag
Given
when
these
somebody has a lot of
statistics, and
turnover.
I truly appreciate those statistics. But what I was just trying to get at was something where maybe we could find common ground on a bill that you actually defended in court in a state, which Director Patel seemed open to, and that was looking at, could we at least raise the age to 21 of the purchase of an assault weapon federally while states
Oh, yeah, good
look at
luck with
banning,
that. Pam
these
Bondi's not
weapons
gonna sign
overall,
on to
given these
that.
little babies that this gun is used to kill. So we can talk about it later, but that was my question, and you don't want to answer it.
No, it's
Well,
pending
maybe if
litigation.
if you included a provision that
views on this
people
is
over
not
21
pending
get free
litigation.
assault
So
rifles.
I want to get to the instruments of the Justice Department. At your nomination
people under
hearing,
21
I
can't buy 'em.
specifically asked you to
maybe they could
provide
get that bill.
assurance to every member of this committee that the Justice Department will
Because
only
you know where
follow
the
the facts and the
gun
law,
industry makes
and the White
makes
House
their
will
money
play
is
no
on the
role in
ammunition.
cases investigated or brought. You stated
Kinda
in
like
your
printers.
Even if
response,
they could at
this
least
was
get
you,
rid of clip
politics will not
sizes.
play a part in my decisions.
Mhm.
And you also said the Justice Department must be independent and must act independently. Do you believe that you have upheld that commitment?
I absolutely have upheld that
Oh,
commitment,
really?
Senator. I pledged that I would end the
You just
weaponization
prosecuted
also
James
of the
Comey
Justice
because
Department, and that
Trump
America would
insisted on
once
it.
again have a one-tier system of justice for
That's
all.
real
And
independence.
that is what we are doing in this country.
We saw this with the president directing an investigation prosecution of Chris Krebs, the former head of cybersecurity, Lisa Cook, who is a current governor of the Federal Reserve, Director Comey. And the president, and I know you have said that you will not discuss discussions you've had with the president about Comey. Is that correct? That you won't testify here about that? Because I was going to ask you if you received
Well,
advice,
don't give her an
instruction, or
opportunity.
request
Just
from
ask her the
anyone
question.
at
Why?
the White House to
Why
direct
ask
the
her
department
if
to
you're not?
engage
Are you
in
not
any
going to answer my question?
investigations,
Why ask that?
prosecutorial actions,
Just ask it.
including decisions not to investigate or prosecute anyone?
I'm not going to discuss any
Okay.
conversations.
But then how about the Truth Social post on September 20th, 2025, in which the president said, "We can't delay any longer, Pam," using your name.
Yeah, how about that? You're not
bringing
going to
criminal
discuss a public
charges
post by the
are
president
killing our
ordering you to
reputation, his work,
prosecute
and
Comey?
credibility. And then goes on to tell you to prosecute a member of this committee, to prosecute the Attorney General of New York, and to prosecute James Comey. Do you consider that a directive to the Justice Department?
Senator Klobuchar, President Trump is the most transparent president in American history.
Yeah.
And I
That's
don't
the
think he
problem.
said anything that he hasn't said for years.
Okay, it has been reported
That's the
that
problem.
you
He
initially
transparently
pushed back
ordered you to
against
do these things.
against requests by senior Trump administration officials to push out or fire the acting U.S. Attorney in Virginia, Eric Siebert, who's a conservative Republican, who made the decision that that the evidence was not there to prosecute Comey. What made you change your opinion?
I am not going to discuss personnel decisions.
Okay. Is it true that the career prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia found that there was insufficient evidence to bring criminal charges against former
Not
Director
going to
Comey?
discuss.
I am not going to discuss
Not
pending cases because Comey was indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia by, I may point out, one of the most liberal grand juries in the country.
Okay, let's go on to
Yeah.
other firings.
With 6 votes
nominations.
against
Last
it.
week, the Justice Department fired at least
On two
senior
charges that
attorneys
are
in the
basically
Eastern District of
misdemeanors.
Virginia, including
Right. And
the
a
Office of
third
National
charge they didn't
Security
agree to.
Chief
Yeah.
Michael Ben-Ari. It is reported that his firing came following
When
criticism
you
from
lose a
right-wing
grand jury,
social media
14, I mean, when you win a
commentator who
grand
wrote,
jury
"One
by
can
only 14 to
assume
9,
he was
there's a
part of
good
the
chance you're
internal
not going to get
resistance
a
in the Comey
unanimous trial
indictment.
jury.
In fact, he did not
Right.
work on the Comey case. Instead, he was working on pursuing justice for service members killed in Afghanistan. How does firing a 20-year national security prosecutor enhance public safety?
Senator Klobuchar, I'm not going to discuss personnel decisions,
matters.
but the personnel issue that I'm having right now is that all of my agents, all of my lawyers are working. My agents are on the street working without a paycheck because your party
Uh-oh.
voted to
Change
shut
the
down
subject.
the federal government.
Change the subject. She
Unfortunately,
had that one
the
written
House isn't
down.
even back here. They're
That one's
18
so
days off
easy
the
she could have
job to
memorized
meet
it.
with us to come up with a resolution that we would like to discuss with them about saving people's health care. Let's move on to the antitrust division. Did
But
you
she's
authorize your
fast.
chief of staff
Yeah.
to overrule top officials in the antitrust division?
Yeah, she's
to
fast
settle the
and she's
challenge to the
organized.
Hewlett-Packard
There's no
Enterprises
shuffling of
Juniper
the
Networks
papers
merger?
with her.
That's right. I mean, yeah. I mean, she's just her
Senator
approach.
Gail
It is
Slater
interesting to
runs
see
my
how the
antitrust
different
unit.
Democrats
She is
handle
doing
these
an
stonewalling
excellent job on many,
cabinet
many
members.
cases.
In her
As
case,
you
she's just
know,
assuming
that
she's not
is
going to
a
answer the
pending
question, gets it on the
case.
record, and
Okay.
moves
In
on.
any merger, just
Right.
to clarify, in any merger, Senator, there is a deal struck with
at the end of this,
and with the corporations
she ought to have a
involved,
staff member
but then
keep a
that also
tally,
goes to
and
a
at the end
court
say,
to
okay,
certify
I
in
asked
any merger,
17
in any
questions,
merger.
and
It's a
14 times you said you're not going to discuss it.
process.
Okay, I
And
will
that
ask some
process is
further
still pending,
questions
Senator
about
Klobuchar.
antitrust.
No,
I
but
just had one other
these
thing.
are the main
DOJ,
things I like about
can
her.
now
She,
take the extraordinary step of
Time's
subpoenaing
expired.
journalists. Has
the
the
men
Justice
tend to
Department issued
fumble
any
around and
subpoenas
go
to
from,
journalists under
well,
the
let's see
updated
where I
guidance?
can go with here.
Time
And
has
she's
expired.
sitting there with
No, I
everything
think
You may
so
on the
respond,
organized
Ms.
that she
Bondi.
just goes immediately from
You can
subject to
respond, she
subject
said.
to subject.
Yep.
So that's what I was talking about, being a perfectionist,
Senator,
which could
my
upset
office
staff a lot.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
April restored the Justice Department's longstanding norm on this issue. It was AG Garland who had deviated on the media
God, it's just everything
investigations policy.
It's all
allowing
whataboutism.
Self-identified journalists using this self-serving status as a shield against being held accountable for endangering our nation's security. We have taken that policy back to the norm, and I can't comment on whether we have or have not, or do not have pending investigations.
Time has
Senator
expired.
Klobuchar.
Senator Lee, you're recognized.
Attorney General Bondi, thank you for
Oh,
being
Grassley's
here today,
gone.
and thanks for your service as
Mike
Attorney
Lee.
General of the United States.
I
want
don't
to
know what
start by
happened to this guy.
Thanking you for acknowledging a moment ago
He
the
started
importance
out
of
as
protecting the
a
rights
pretty
of the law
middle of the road character
in a
and
country where there are hundreds of
just
millions
turned
of
into
guns.
a
One of
maggot.
the most
I think
alarming,
it's called
not to mention
survival in
unconstitutional things the
office.
government could do is
Yeah.
to disarm the law-abiding. It
I
would
mean,
be
he just
unfair.
really.
It would be
I
fatal
mean,
to
once
many,
they turn,
contrary to
boy.
our constitutional system.
Once
I
these
appreciate you standing
lawmaker
up for that.
Republicans
I'm also
turn into
grateful,
maggots, they go whole
for
hog.
you standing up for Gail Slater, the Assistant Attorney General over the Antitrust Division. I have full confidence in her, and I can tell you do as well.
Oh, well.
No, everyone's
Yeah, we're
not.
going to Red Lobster for lunch today.
Okay, let's see. It's 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's about 11, almost 11 there.
Yeah, we're driving to. We're going outside the Beltway. It's funny. We have three Red Lobsters, 2 in Maryland and 1 in Virginia, and all 3 of them are exactly 30 minutes away in good traffic. And we've tried one, and we're going to try another one today. But none of. I was talking to Jack about this the other day. I was talking about some local restaurant we went to. It was kind of had some exotic menu, and he said, "Well, that's what I miss about the city. You know, you have great restaurants." I said, "Yeah, but there's 2 problems. Is the closest Red Lobster is a half hour away." I mean, yeah, we got fancy gourmet restaurants, and or not always gourmet, but exotic, and but we don't have a Red Lobster, and we don't have a Chili's. Our Chili's is a half hour away.
Well, our Red Lobster is less than 10 minutes, but my son just short circuits everything and makes the Cheddar Bay biscuits at home.
I did that one time. Does he get the mixture, the box?
Right. But he adds extra cheese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could do that. I did try that one time. The mix, it's in the grocery. Yeah, the Red Lobster brand.
Yeah,
and they are good. Yeah, I did make them one time. They are good, but I didn't think to add extra cheese. What kind of cheese did he add?
Oh, very sharp cheddar.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
His sort of kick you when you bite in, and oh, they're good.
Yeah.
I try to avoid them.
Well, I'm into supporting Red Lobster because they've got a new CEO. This young guy, he's in his 30s, and he is really bringing them. He brought them back from the brink. I mean, they're on the comeback trail.
And he's good looking too.
Yeah, he's a really sharp guy, and he's all over YouTube and TikTok, and they've fiddled with the menu. I mean, because it was a crime what was happening to that company. I mean,
oh yeah, it was awful.
I think it was the Thai shrimp company that kind of took it over and was forcing shrimp on them. That's where the attorney, I mean,
Right, the
it
whole
was just criminal.
unlimited shrimp. And he brings out this cute commercial about that makes a play on it being unlimited, but it's just the plate you get.
Yeah. Well, I have a special connection to Red Lobster because our neighbor in Orlando was the founder of Red Lobster. Bill Darden was his name. He's dead now, but he and another partner who was also lived in the neighborhood founded it, and going back into the late 60s, 70s, and then ended up selling it to either General Foods or General Mills, I forget. But then it ended up back in his successor company, Darden Restaurants, and now it's owned by somebody else. But anyway, so
I'm almost considering vegetarianism like Blue is, because lobsters are friendly and they've got eyes. And cod is getting overfished, so fishermen have to risk their lives to even get them.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they have to go farther and farther out, but cod is so overfished that they're looking for the ugly fish that you don't have to see the whole thing, but it tastes just as good. And because of dams, the salmon are having population problems, and the whales are starving to death because of the lack of salmon. So we are not.
And it all gets back to humans.
Yeah, too many of them. I just wish I could figure out a way to reduce the population in half without upsetting relatives.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I started one of my books, the Politics of Life, about, and I call humans at the outset of that book nature's top predator.
Yeah,
you can never forget that humans are nature's top predator. There's no species even close.
And of course, the big problem is that by nature we are tribal. You know, the gorillas like to hang out with other gorillas.
Yeah.
And when they start encroaching on each other, you get problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But gorillas, that's a dumb question. I guess I should know. But gorillas don't eat. Are gorillas vegetarian? They're vegetarian, are they? I don't know.
They will take up with like insects and so on, but principally, yes, they're vegetarian.
They don't eat meat. I mean, they don't eat.
No, they don't
animals.
kill other beasts to eat them.
Oh, so they're more so. So humans are more violent than gorillas, even.
Gorillas have a largely vegetarian diet, mainly of leaves, stems, and shoots. Yeah. They are not strictly vegetarian because they also consume insects, termites, and ants for protein.
Well, how do you get that big just eating leaves and insects?
A lot of it.
I guess so.
But again,
I've enjoyed watching all the Jane Goodall interviews that have floated around on YouTube.
Goodall.
That woman had the sweetest face. I mean, did anybody have a sweeter face than Jane Goodall?
No. And she was such a loving person. Did you ever watch the documentary on it, where at one point she's releasing chimpanzee that she is literally almost raised from an infant and returning it to the wild.
I've seen clips of that. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
and it comes back to hug her before finally going off to its new life in the jungle. And it's just like, oh. Except that the small problem with chimpanzees is when they get to older adult level, they do get Alzheimer's.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you had that case of the one pet chimpanzee who practically tore off the face of a friend who had been raising it.
Oh.
Yeah, they can be very violent in old age. I don't know if it comes from being caged and not having other chimpanzees or whatever, but they do get. Yeah.
Is that the clip there?
Right.
Doesn't seem to have sound. Oh, here.
Is that the sweetest thing you've ever seen? I mean,
yeah.
Sort of like, Mommy, I grown up, I gotta go away.
No, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a nice note to wrap up this stream. I gotta get ready to go to Red Lobster.
Okay, you have a good lunch.
All right, good talking to you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm Lady Mau Mau, Craig's built-in emergency brake. If this wasn't enough for you, sign up for the newsletter. It's free, it's thoughtful, and it occasionally makes sense.